So this is me, raw and uncensored and unfiltered, and I just want to catch what had just happened for me this afternoon and the passion that unleashed on another level again for me. If you're watching this, obviously I've decided that I want to share this. This is not just about me. This is about a hell load of people. It might be my story, but I know it's a lot of other people's stories, so I may share this because I want others to benefit in any way possible from whatever it is that I'm sharing. But I want to just capture what happened for me this afternoon, and I don't want to lose that far out freaking fire that I felt inside of me about my story. And I am so tired, and I am so angry, and I am so frustrated at the fact that so many of us feel like we need to be silent about our past, silent about all the stuff that matters, and we stay silent. The only reason we stay silent is because those who have been the bullies, the abusers, the manipulators, the structures, the whatever it is in our life, they are the ones that still silence us. Because either we're afraid, or we're ashamed, or we don't want to be the ones to carry on, or maybe we double guess ourselves, or maybe we don't think anything really particularly happened for us anyway. The only reason we stay silent is to protect others. And the stuff that brews in silence is toxic and yuck and blackness. Silence doesn't actually help anyone. And if speaking out rocks the boat, if speaking out causes issues, if speaking out causes problems for other people, then maybe they need to be caused. And maybe not maybe, they do need to be caused. Because all the stuff that abuse and neglect and I don't even have words for it all, that is bottled up in silence is just sickening. And it's not okay. I found some report cards this afternoon. I've done loads. This is not for sympathy either. This is me expressing what's happened. I know the work I've got to do. I know I'm a therapist, for goodness sake, so I know all the inner child work. So this isn't me feeling sorry for myself. This is me having a crack open and realizing too that there's so much more behind that. But I found some report cards this afternoon from high school. And as I looked through them, report card after, and yes, my face is swollen and red because it's been a big thing, but report card after report card. Okay, this is a 13, 14, 15-year-old. This is the time of life where you are, well, what time of childhood isn't a really important part, but this is real identity forming. This is real, what we get spoken over us sticks. And every single report card, the first page I opened up, 3 pages in, it says, they comment like, Naomi, you have let yourself down greatly this term. And every single comment from bar 1 or 2 teachers, like this is like 10 pages, every single comment was you need to do better. You need to do more, you need to be more, you need to be better, you need to be more this, you need to be more that. You're not enough, this is not enough. And there was another word that came out all the time. I'm trying to remember what it was. Disappointing. That's it. Disappointment. Disappointing. Disappointment. Over and over and over again. I'm probably going to get upset again. This is term after term. And I don't know what I think my childhood ones from primary school were similar in a different way. And I was not a naughty kid. All right, I was not a naughty kid. I was bubbly and I was talkative, yes, but I was definitely not one of, you know, and even if I was, well, who cares? Like, but anyway, what they did not know, every single teacher who term after term after term writes things like you need to do more, you need to be more, this is disappointing, you've let yourself down so badly, Naomi. What they did not know was what was going on at home. What hell had to be gone through every single morning and every single night in varying degrees. Those teachers had no bloody idea what was happening at home. And that is what I find ridiculously mind-boggling, right? And this kind of stuff has got to change. Because what happened at home was completely different to what happened at church. We went to church, we were involved very greatly in conservative religion. Church, school, and home were the three main places that my childhood consisted of. At church, what happens at church? There's a complete mask put on. There's a complete and utter mask put on. What happened at home and the reflection of what we looked like as a family at church was completely opposite. And then there was school. And none of this stuff that really went on in the home was allowed out anywhere. It was not recognized, it was not talked about, it was not validated, it was not asked about, it was not inquired about. If a child is struggling term in, term out, term in, term out in this structure of school, if every single teacher is writing similar things, then what the frickin' heck is happening somewhere? Either there is a learning problem, which there was for me, that was never diagnosed. Be that as it may, I'm not victimizing myself here at all. This is not particularly about me. This is about the fact that there are thousands and thousands of others who have had this same experience and who have not been able to break out of it as an adult, because what is stamped on you as a child actually matters. It actually makes the course of your life, unless you are lucky enough to figure out that it doesn't when you're older and change it. But teacher after teacher after teacher writing the same thing. Well, what the bloody heck is wrong then with this kid? What's going on? And I was a good masker. And often children from households that are abusive are very good maskers. They are the happier, they are the brighter, they are the bubblier. However, they can't concentrate. Their grades aren't particularly great. They mask it in different and varying ways. And this just broke my heart. I don't have a good memory of childhood, which is often the case. Sometimes people have really good memories and I don't. I've blocked like the majority out. So for me, because our body remembers, right? So just because I don't remember, I've had to work through a load of stuff without memory, because if I hadn't, I would not be able to function. I would not have been able to heal, and I would not have been able to work through all of the stuff I needed to work through to be a fully functioning human, woman, mother, wife, citizen, person, whatever. So for me, when I go through memories and stuff, that is the time of the biggest triggers, and it's also the time of the most healing, because I'm actually able to realize what was going on. But if there is the biggest case of gaslighting ever is when the victim, like what's gaslighting, is when the victim is made to think that there is no problem or that the problem's with themselves. And as a child in a religious system that is conservative, that closes off the truth that you cannot be real in, that you must mask this mask of holiness and this mask of perfection and this mask of going to church and looking the part, right? The child, whatever happens at home, the child does not actually take on as a reality. So they are victim to something that they don't even know they're victim to. So you have all these systems supporting each other. church supporting it, school supporting it. So a child has never got the ability to actually understand what it is they're going through. I actually thought I had a good childhood until I started seeing counsellors early on in my 20s, and they started going, there was a lot of stuff going on here. What has happened to you? I had nothing. It was all great. First of all, I forgot. Second of all, I believed what I was told. I believed what I thought was the truth. We go out looking perfect. This must be a perfect family. This must be how it should be. And then it shows up in all the ugliness, right? And it shows up in all when you have children and when you become an older adult and when you have responsibilities, it comes out everywhere. But the worst situation is when the child no longer doesn't even know that they're abused, manipulated in a prison. And this stuff breaks my heart. And then you become tied up, you become bottled up, you become like there is so much inside of you to come out and it can't because you're silent. You've got no words for it. You've got no expression for it. You're too afraid to speak it. You're too afraid to express it. Because that's all tied up with abuse. That is all tied up with misplaced and absolute toxic authority. And I'm sorry, but church, religion has a humongous part to play in this. A huge part. And I'm not putting religion under a big hat, no, but it has to be talked about because it absolutely has a disgusting part to play in it. To sit there week after week, week after week, week after week in a church environment. I'm speaking for myself now, but I know there are plenty more out there who have got this. Maybe in your childhoods, maybe not so much anymore, I don't know. Women my age, women older than me, women younger than me, whatever. Well, we had plastered in front of us, week in, week out, be ye holy for I am holy. Like religion was such an incorporated part of my life with all the toxic, with all the manipulation, with all the filth and the yuck and the abuse that comes with having a father who is a pedophile, who has a sick sexual addiction that is twisted and hidden. And when you are not kept safe from that, when you are not protected as you should be by other authorities and figures and parent in your life. So you are there, you are faced with this God at school because it was a Christian school, at home, at church. Be ye holy for I'm holy. Week in, week out, week in, week out. Where there's pedophiles sitting amongst all the be ye holies for I'm holy. Where there is hypocrisy, where there is manipulation, where there is fake masks, complete unreality. And then you go to school and plastered on front of my report card is, lo, children are a heritage of the Lord. Well, damn well they're not, because they certainly are not being treated like they're a heritage of the Lord, because that is my reality and that is other women's reality. And that is not okay. You cannot go plastering these lovely things around the place and think that they cover up all the filth, because they do not. And these women, there are so many who need a voice who can't have a voice because they're still too damn scared, which I don't blame them. So am I in some ways. There is so much stuff that I want to speak and get out of me because silence breeds absolute filth. It protects the manipulator, it protects the abusers, it protects the ones who have needed a mask to cover up their own garbage. It protects all them, and it makes the victim forever. It makes the victim silent and completely just ruined inside of themselves, because you hold that stuff inside. You hold that stuff in the darkness and it never sees the light of day. What is it doing in your body? It is making you sick emotionally. It is making you sick mentally. It is making you sick physically. It is making you sick spiritually. You cannot hold this stuff inside. Neither can you dwell on the past. I'm not about dwelling on the past, but you damn well have to actually look at your past and be able to get it out, because you cannot ignore it, you cannot run from it, you cannot hide from it, you cannot fake that it was not there. It was there. It becomes part of your DNA, it becomes part of your makeup, it becomes part of who you are. And you can't change it unless you know what it is. There is a part of me, a huge part of me, that came out from this afternoon. And is that I want to be a voice for those who cannot speak. Because enough of the festering of that filth inside of people. It needs the light of day. It doesn't need to be spread far and wide particularly, but it needs the light of day. Every single person's truth and reality and story needs the light of day. And these people have got such twisted up stories and realities and identities inside of themselves because they were gaslighted on so many different fronts. They need a voice. They need an outlet. It needs to come out. It is not okay. Because we doubt ourselves. We think we're the problem. We don't know what the heck, what is wrong with us. When it's not that at all. This is not about religion. This is not about God, okay? For some people who have had this kind of abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, rotten childhoods, abusive childhoods, neglect, where they were scared day in, day out, where they were had to see and experience violence or unhealthy relationship dynamics between their parents or their home life, or there was terror and there was fear day in, day out. It was walking on eggshells. It was not knowing what you're going to come home to. Every day I did not know what I was going to come home to. How is a child like that supposed to be able to learn in school when you lived in terror in the rest of the parts of your life? However, you don't realize that. I didn't know that. I thought that was normal. My greatest abuser was also my greatest, safest person. Like, figure that out in a kid's head. And it's often the case. I'm not the only one. And I know I'm not the only one. And I'm speaking for this because there's so many who have this. Thousands upon thousands. The one who was supposed to keep me the safest was the one who is my abuser. Therefore, he is the one I feared the most and the one I trusted the most. And then there is the whole religious structure. They are the ones you trust the most. However, that structure was the one that absolutely and completely continued the disgusting cycle of what was going on at home. They did not help it. They did not call it out. They couldn't call it out. Because in that structure itself, there was men who could not call this stuff out because they were the same. And this stuff messes with heads. This is not a pretty story. I mean, this is not just a little story. This is real life. This is real stuff. This is not just forget it and get over it. There's plenty of things that you can absolutely push forwards in life, and I'm all about that on every level. This is not about wallowing, but this is calling out what was. Because it absolutely bloody hell needs to be called out. And every single woman, I'm speaking to women, I'm not excluding you men, but women is who I work with. Every single woman who has got a story like this, it needs to be spoken. I want to make a place. I'm going to make some kind of platform or place or book, or I don't know what it is, where women can speak this stuff anonymously, but it needs to come out. Enough with protecting the ones that don't need the protecting. If you were the one who was the abuser, the manipulator, the one who couldn't deal with your shiz and get yourself together, then you do not need protecting. You need to deal with your stuff. You need to sort your stuff out. You need to face the truth. Because it's when we do not face the truth and when we do not call this stuff out that this cycles. It does not stop. It doesn't just stop because we don't talk about it. It only stops when we call it out. It only stops when we actually step up. And if you are not, and I'm not judging you if you can't do this. I'm absolutely, the last thing I want to do is judging you if you can't do this. But I'm saying that this stuff does not end, these cycles and this absolute crap does not end in silence. It has to end in coming into the light. And when you have structure upon structure, church, school, supporting that kind of silence and that kind of shutting your eyes and not looking behind what's going on, that's when all sorts of things are happening behind there that need to be seen. If a report card is saying over and over and over again the same thing, then bloody hell look into it. What the heck's going on? And the report cards can say, like, it's not like that's the only thing. Yes, the report card can say the same thing over and over again and everything's fine. That's not the point. The point is for when it's not. Enough with the mask, enough with the fake, enough with going to church, sitting there, look pretty and going home and being as foul and feral to each other. Where family environments are toxic and manipulative and disgusting, but as long as you look good out, then we're all good. No, enough. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. And then you tie God into that. Now, I didn't throw God out with my life. And I'm so thankful and blessed, I feel, for me that I haven't. I've discovered him in a whole way for me that I needed to. That's got nothing to do with religion, and it's got nothing to do with church, and it's got nothing to do with doctrine. It's got to do with me and him. And for some women who have been through a church environment, who have been abused, who have had that as that cycle of cover up, the church and the abuse and all of that masking, and have had to throw the whole lot away, I don't blame you. I don't judge you. I don't anything you. I understand. But it's not okay that we go and intertwine God with feral human kindness, feral men, feral manipulators, abusers. And I'm sick of it being intertwined. I really am. It is the most destructive thing you can do to a mind, especially of a child, is to intertwine all of that together. Because it damn well messes with your head. Where is the truth in it all if all of the ones that have had the biggest impact on your life, who have spoken God to you and God stuff over you, have been twisted, feral, evil individuals? What does that do to your mind? Now, I've had peace with a lot of my stuff, okay? This isn't me blurting it out because I haven't had forgiveness and I haven't had resolution and I haven't had healing. I've had it for loads of stuff. There's always layers. I do not hold grudges. I do not hold bitterness. I do not hold resentment anymore. I do not hold... Yes, there are levels of hurt that come up, that obviously have come up with reading these report cards. But just because there is forgiveness and resolution and resolve and healing does not mean that there can still be silence. It doesn't mean you shut it all in a box and pretty little box and pop it all away. No, it doesn't. It can't mean that. Because if you have had forgiveness and resolution, then you've got to speak out. Because this stuff is damaging. And some people take it, and loads of people take it to their grave. They take their damaged selves to the grave, and that's not okay. They take all that silent sludge to the grave, and that's not okay. That is not okay at all. It is not okay that you can't have a voice when this has been your life, because of the ones who have created that, because of the ones who have not actually dealt with their crap and sorted themselves out, so that they have perpetuated that cycle. I'm not judging. I know how hard it is. But I don't care. We all have a choice. We all have a choice to sort our stuff out. Everyone has a choice. Always. That's it for now, for me. If I've decided to put this up for others, if it benefits you, I'm glad. If someone else needs to hear it, please share it. I'm signing out for now. Loads of love. See ya.